They have. They have to back off. Can't allow them to dictate to us anymore. I've met some people from the government now, they're not impressive.
Today that farmers are going back to London on the 11th of December. But this time with tractors. That's right, with tractors.
And I think, we all make mistakes in life, and I think it's time for them to say, you know what, we've cocked this one up a bit and back down.
Jeremy Clarkson's warning to Keir Starmer speaks volumes about the plight of British farmers. As tractors prepare to descend on London on December 11th, Clarkson emerges as a vocal advocate for the agricultural community. His message underscores the growing tension between Labour's policies and the realities faced by those working the land. The question remains, will Starmer acknowledge these concerns or continue to dismiss them as mere misinformation? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Jeremy Clarkson's journey from Top Gear host to farming advocate has caught many by surprise. The transformation began with Diddley Squat Farm, Clarkson's 1,000-acre Cotswolds property. What started as a casual venture quickly became a life-altering experience for the TV personality.
I understand that some people won't like the changes that we've made. But I say this with all candour.
Does it involve spraying some cow on the place?
No, subtler. Subtler.
I say the door is open and you can.
As he grappled with the realities of modern farming, from unpredictable weather to complex regulations, Clarkson's perspective underwent a significant shift. The Amazon Prime series Clarkson's Farm captured this transformation, offering viewers an unvarnished look at the challenges faced by British farmers. The show's success extended beyond the agricultural community, drawing in urban viewers who found themselves unexpectedly invested in the fate of sheep and the intricacies of crop rotation. As Clarkson immersed himself in agriculture, he began to use his considerable platform to advocate for farmers' rights. His outspoken criticism of government policies has thrust him into the spotlight as a voice for rural Britain. Clarkson's willingness to confront politicians directly has earned him both praise and criticism. He's called out Keir Starmer, accusing the Labour leader of being out of touch with agricultural realities. With the December 11th protest approaching, Clarkson's role in amplifying the farmers' message is under scrutiny.
Farmers are going back to London on the 11th of December. Today that farmers are going back to London on the 11th of December. But this time with tractors. That's right, with tractors.
The former car enthusiast now finds himself at the forefront of a different kind of race, one to preserve British farming. But what exactly has Clarkson so fired up about current agricultural policies? Clarkson's accusations against Labour's rural policies have ignited a firestorm of controversy. He claims the party harbors a sinister plan that threatens British farming, proposing to replace farmland with new towns for immigrants and sprawling wind farms to meet net zero targets. Clarkson even suggests Labour's ultimate goal is to ethically cleanse the countryside of farmers, a statement that has resonated deeply with rural communities already feeling ignored by urban policymakers. The farming community is on edge, watching their profit margins shrink and their way of life come under threat. Clarkson's inflammatory words have struck a chord with many who feel their concerns are falling on deaf ears in Westminster. The disconnect between Labour's official stance and the experiences shared by farmers is stark, highlighting a widening gulf between urban politics and rural realities. Labour, for their part, dismisses these concerns as misinformation. Keir Starmer has attempted to quell the growing unrest, but his response has done little to assuage farmers' fears. The party insists that the facts are clear, yet their assurances seem to be falling flat in the face of mounting rural discontent. As the December 11th protest approaches, tension is palpable.
And Gareth Wyn-Jones as well supporting us, that farmers will be attending London in their mass on tractors. So Fairness to Farmers have teamed up with Save British Farming and other farming platforms around and groups around the UK.
Farmers and rural residents are rallying behind Clarkson, seeing him as a voice for their often overlooked communities. The groundswell of support raises questions about whether Labour will be forced to reconsider its approach to agricultural policy, or if the divide between Britain's fields and corridors of power will continue to grow. While Clarkson races to save British farming, a financial time bomb is ticking in the countryside. His claim that farming 1,000 acres yielded just $44 in income paints a stark picture of the industry's precarious state. The reality of modern agriculture is far more fragile than most city dwellers realize. Labour's proposed inheritance tax on farms, valued over $1 million, has farmers up in arms. Clarkson didn't mince words, calling it a kick in the nuts.
The government is stopping subsidies and grants, fair dues. And I think, we all make mistakes in life, and I think it's time for them to say, you know what, we've cocked this one up a bit and back down.
The potential limitation of agricultural property. Relief and business. Property relief could force families to sell off parts of their farms just to pay the tax bill. This change threatens to reshape rural communities, with predictions of a significant decrease in family farms and potential risks to UK food security. The impending cuts to farming subsidies are compounding these concerns. These subsidies have been crucial for farms operating on thin margins, and their removal could push many over the edge. Farmers are proposing alternatives, including calls for maintained or increased subsidies, but the disconnect between urban policymakers and rural realities seems to be widening. As tensions rise, farmers are preparing to take their fight to London streets. With tractors set to roll into the capital, it's clear that this battle is about more than just policy. It's about the future of British farming and rural life. The question remains: will Westminster listen to the countryside's concerns, or will the gulf between urban and rural perspectives continue to grow? The planned December 11th protest in London promises to be a spectacle unlike any seen before. Farmers from across the UK are preparing to bring their tractors to the heart of the capital, transforming iconic locations like Trafalgar Square into impromptu parking lots for agricultural machinery. This protest goes beyond previous demonstrations in both scale and strategy. While past events have drawn thousands of rural participants, the addition of tractors adds a new dimension to the farmers' show of strength. The sight of these hulking vehicles navigating London streets is sure to capture attention and potentially cause significant disruptions. At the core of this protest is a demand for the government to seriously engage with farmers' concerns. They're fighting against policies they believe threaten not just their individual livelihoods, but the very future of British food security. The farmers argue that their cause extends far beyond rural interests, touching on issues of national importance. Public opinion on these protests remains divided. Some Londoners have expressed frustration at the potential for chaos, while others show support for the rural cause.
So if they're not going to pay us to grow food, they have now lost the right to tell us what to do. As I understand it, it was a very rushed, last-minute decision. They have to back off. Can't allow them to dictate to us anymore. I've met some people from the government now, they're not impressive.
Media coverage has similarly varied, with some outlets portraying the farmers as defenders of British tradition, and others questioning the effectiveness of their methods. As December 11th approaches, all eyes are on the government's response. Will they engage meaningfully with the farmers' demands, or continue to dismiss their concerns? The outcome could have far-reaching implications for British agriculture and rural communities. This protest has the potential to shift the ongoing debate about the future of farming in the UK. As thousands of tractors prepare to roll into London, the question remains: will this unprecedented display of rural resolve be enough to force a reconsideration of agricultural policy at the highest levels of government? The clash between Jeremy Clarkson and Keir Starmer has brought rural issues to the forefront of national debate. Starmer's dismissal of farmers' concerns as misinformation has intensified the rift between Labour and rural communities. His responses to Clarkson and the wider farming community reveal a potential gap in understanding the realities on the ground. Starmer's background as a London-based lawyer and politician has come under scrutiny. Critics argue that this urban perspective may hinder his ability to grasp the nuances of rural life. This perceived disconnect is fueling resentment in farming communities who feel increasingly sidelined by Westminster politics. Labour's current agricultural policies appear to be a delicate balancing act. The party is attempting to appeal to urban voters with promises of environmental protection and affordable housing, while also trying not to alienate rural constituencies. However, as the December 11th protest approaches, this strategy is showing signs of strain. The growing pressure from farmers and rural communities raises an important question. Will Starmer be forced to reconsider Labour's position? The party's declining support in rural areas suggests that a change in approach may be necessary. The widening gulf between Labour leadership and rural voters could have significant implications for the future of British farming and food security. As tractors prepare to roll into London, the spotlight is on Clarkson and Starmer. Their public disagreement has the potential to spark a broader national conversation about the challenges facing British agriculture and the role of political leadership in addressing these issues.